Hey y'all, so this is my 6-month update for working at JB Hunt. Um, I'm pretty sure last time I told you I was feeling a little bit better about it after 4 months. Uh, they're still working on getting me home a little bit more often. That is still kind of hard, but I've been home a few more times. I actually just got to the place where I park my truck when I am home. So today, which is actually my first day out this week, they got me home for the night, and then I'll go do a pickup in the morning in Iowa. So it's happening a little bit more often. I'm getting home a little bit more often. The money is getting better. Not that they're paying more, but I've changed my schedule, so I start much earlier. I try to start 3:30 in the morning, sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a little later, depending on if there's an appointment involved or whatever. And that gets me down the road with very little traffic in the mornings. And then, of course, when you go into Chicago in the afternoon, my goal is to be in and out of there before rush hour even has a chance to think about starting. And that's worked out pretty well for me. Last week, I actually cut my week short and had just under 2,000 miles, but the week before, I ran a full 5 days and got home early the next days. It wasn't even 5.5 days, maybe 5.25 days. You can call it 5.5, I guess. And I had 2,600 miles, and that was a pretty good paycheck. I also had my 6-month payment of my bonus paid out on that check too, so it was a pretty big check, but the normal portion of it, with the miles and the drop-in hooks and the congestion pay and all the stuff that goes along with that, was around $1,600. So that's gross pay. The net is, it's a little bit different because the more money you make, the more taxes they take out. And of course, I also pay into a 401k on a percentage basis, so a larger amount of money went in because it's a percentage of the larger paycheck. So I still did get a big net deposit into my bank account, but of course, if you make more money, you pay more money. So, but anyway, I took home more money in the end, and that's the goal, is to take home more money. Equipment wise, I've been in the same Cascadia since I started. I started with a little over 8,000 miles, and I haven't had any issues with the tractor. There was a little bit of an air leak in the air reservoir, and they just replaced the valve, and it's fine. That's the only problem I've had mechanically. I don't have too many bad things to say. I've kind of learned how to navigate around Chicago better, in and out of the rail yards better. The time that works for me, that's better, and I think I'm settling into a groove to where I'll make more more miles consistently. And I'm still going back to the one or two things that I'd really like to see happen still are home more often, because I think I can still do plenty of miles and be home. And I'd also like to shift my schedule to a Monday through Friday schedule. Right now I'm on a Tuesday through Saturday schedule. If I could get shifted over to Monday through Friday, I don't know what more I could ask for in a driving position. If I can get home more and work Monday through Friday and keep pulling down the same money I'm making now, I really don't know what else I could ask for except to win the lottery, and I wouldn't have to work at all. That'd be it. So in general, going all the way back to the very beginning, I was a little bit hesitant about going with JB Hunt, and I thought I would just try to see, if what they were telling me was going to happen would really happen. And I was a little bit unhappy with Schneider at the time because of money and home time, and I just decided to take a chance, and as it turns out, I'm pretty happy I did. Of course, there's room for improvement everywhere, in any position, like the things that I mentioned. But now looking back, if knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have been hesitant or afraid of making that move, because the money really is there. At least for me, on this intermodal account that I'm doing, the money is there. And even though I'm an experienced driver, I don't think you have to have too many months or years of experience to be making the same amount of money that I'm making. You just have to learn the system and the routes and the ins and outs that I've been talking about. And it's it's taken me up to 5-6 months to really think I've got a relatively good handle on it, and we'll be able to make consistent higher paychecks and good miles and all that. So it takes time to work into the company and just learn it. But the management's been great. My fleet manager's been great. When I've had issues, like they did call me into the office because apparently I was logging something incorrectly, and I don't know if it was a rule change, or it's just a logging change from one system to another, because I came from Schneider and went to JB Hunt, and they use two different systems, with JB Hunt using the PeopleNet system and Schneider's using the Qualcomm system. And I never had the issue at Schneider, but apparently I was consistently having it over here with JB Hunt, and I just didn't realize it. And they called me in and they said, hey, this is what's happening. This is how we can fix it, and just don't do it anymore. And that's fine. So they didn't yell at me or anything like that. They just brought me in and said, hey, this is what's going on, and this is why, and this is how you can fix it, and just don't do it. And they actually give you like 5 shots at it. They'll call you in 5 times. Each time is a little bit more serious, because then they believe you must just be ignoring them if you keep doing the same wrong thing over and over, after they've talked to you about it. But it was chill. It was I like that style of management. They give you a shot. They tell you what's happening. They say this is how you can fix it. Go out, do great things, and we'll let you know if there's still some sort of problem, and we'll call you back in if there is. But there hasn't been, because I was just ignorant of the thing that was happening. And anyway, they took the time to educate me and set me on my way. I didn't leave out of there feeling like I got in trouble or anything like that. So that's good. I think a lot of the issues I was having previously with lower miles and finding empties and stuff like that, even though occasionally I still have a little bit of an issue trying to find empties. But just by shifting my schedule to starting really early in the morning, I'm there to catch empties before the rail yards are real busy a lot of the time. So a lot of that issue just got fixed by me experimenting with time. So in general, I guess I'm happy here at JB Hunt, and I don't really see the need to be looking to go to work for anyone else at this point. It would have to be something serious for me to decide to move again. I really don't like to move from company to company, but I will if I think I can make significantly more money or something else significantly changed, as was the case over at Schneider. There was a change that affected my home time and my money, and I needed to make more money and be home more. So if that was the case, I could see possibly moving, but they're also really aggressive about moving people around inside the company. If you're not happy where you're at, then they'll find a place that will suit you inside the company. If they can possibly do it, they'll do what they can to make you happy. They want to retain good drivers that they already have, because it costs money to recruit. I'm sure if you've ever signed up on a JB Hunt mailing list or given them your telephone number, they aggressively recruit, but that costs money. They've got people doing that all the time. That's their job, is to recruit. And it costs them a lot of money if they don't retain drivers. So it's the same with any company, not just JB Hunt, obviously. But if you are considering JB Hunt, at this point, from all my experience so far, I would say don't hesitate to do it. There's a little bit of a learning curve if you're doing something like Final Mile, where you're doing home delivery stuff for one of the big box stores, or if you're doing intermodal, there's a little bit of a learning curve there. If you're in other divisions, where you're dedicated somewhere, there's going to be a learning curve, but it's nothing to be afraid of. Some of the stuff you just learn as you go. They try to teach you whatever they can before they put you out on your own, but I haven't regretted coming here. I was initially a little skeptical and hesitant, as I said, but at this point I really don't regret it. So pretty happy with the way things have gone. So if you're curious about talking to a recruiter or something like that, I rarely do this, but you need 3 months of experience. But if you're interested, please message me and let me refer you. I'd appreciate that if you would. I make about $30 a month or so on YouTube videos, so I'm not getting rich off of that. But if you're thinking about joining JB Hunt, especially if you haven't talked to a recruiter yet at this time, send me a message and let me refer you. We'll email our information back and forth. I'll refer you, and I'll be able to get a referral bonus from that. And that bonus varies depending on, if you're experienced or inexperienced, or if you go to dedicated or intermodal or whatever. That number can change, and it changes month to month. They raise it and lower it. So I don't even know what that is. I think right now it's only $500, something like that, but at one point last year it was like $1,500. So that could make a significant impact on my paycheck, and and in most cases they're offering a bonus for you when you sign up. So I'd appreciate that if you do that. Like these videos, share these videos. That all helps with visibility on YouTube. And you know, if you watch it all the way through and watch a few more of my videos, that all moves me up the queue a little bit so that I'm more visible and people watch the videos. Even if they don't like them and they leave negative comments like they have in the past, doesn't matter, because Google likes a lot of activity on the videos, and more people see them and more people react and more people comment, and it just helps me overall. You know, that's a really small part of my income at all, and honestly it's really hard for me to get it done, to sit down, upload the video, edit the video, type out the description and all, you know, make the thumbnails. I mean, that takes hours of my time that I'd rather not have to spend, but I feel like I can contribute something, whether it's just my experience driving over the road or telling you about the company that I work for, because I didn't really, I looked on JB Hunt, you know, looked for JB Hunt on YouTube and mostly just saw their information. And to me, when the company puts it on YouTube, it's basically propaganda. But when someone actually experiences it, and you've seen, if you go all the way back to the beginning of my videos, I've worked for, this is the third company that I've worked for since I started the video portion, which basically is I guess 8 years. And I don't remember at what point I actually started doing the videos year-wise, maybe 5, 6, must be 6 or 7 years. Anyway, you can see I didn't start out as a JB Hunt fanboy, and I haven't been recruiting. I've only been here 6 months. And this is my experience up to this point. And I normally, I don't recruit drivers hardly at all for anything. I'm not out in the truck stop saying, hey, you should join JB Hunt or whatever, but if someone asks me, I'm going to tell them, and my experience has been positive so far. I honestly, I thought Schneider was a good company, and I thought all companies were probably basically the same sort of thing, but so far in my experience, believe it or not, JB Hunt has risen above the experience of any other driving job I've had so far. And you know, I know I'll get comments about that, because a lot of people have had negative experiences at JB Hunt, and I'll be the first to tell you that not every company is for every driver. There's going to be something you don't like. I can tell you one thing people don't like. I have a truck that's governed at 62 miles per hour. I can tell you another thing I don't like. I've got a Meritor forward-facing radar thing on my truck, and when I have my cruise control set, if someone cuts in front of me or is slower than me or whatever, it slows me way down. And if in order for me to pass, I have to add manual throttle and blah blah blah. Anyway, and the thing is beeping at me in traffic and whatnot. And I appreciate that it's all to make us safer and create enough opening in the front and all that. But it's annoying for me, for a guy who's been driving for, you know, going on 15 years or whatever without a single accident. You know, I'm not saying it'll never happen or that I couldn't become complacent, because I'm sure that I could, but I don't need basically a dummy sensor in the truck for me personally. So for me personally, I don't like that, and I don't like that they govern the truck at 62 miles an hour when the speed limits all around the country are going up. And to me, that creates an unsafe environment. because there's just such a big differential between how fast I can legally go and how fast the truck is governed at, how fast I can physically go. I mean, that's, you're talking in most cases at least 8 miles per hour, which isn't too bad, but in some parts of the country it's almost 15 miles an hour, and that's really, to me, that's dangerous, because people can come flying up on you, and unsafe drivers can easily get themselves into a situation where I'm going slow because I have to, and it creates a backup, and it becomes an unsafe situation, especially if you're merging into traffic that's going 70 to 80 miles per hour, and you're only ever going to top out at 62. You don't have a lot of throttle, a lot of acceleration to begin with as a big truck. Just becomes a dangerous situation sometimes. I do everything I can do. I put my signal on as soon as I hit a ramp. I mean, they can't even probably see me from the road yet, but my signal is on so that at the earliest possible time a car can see my signal flashing, they'll see it and hopefully make room for me. So that's a couple things I don't like, and then there's going to be people who just don't like a big corporate style leadership like with JB Hunt or Schneider or whatever. But I've got to say, JB Hunt, even though it's a big corporation, they're publicly traded, they feel a lot less corporate. It's there. There's an underlying corporate factor, of course. It's a big company and they have to have some sort of structure and organization. But I don't know, the feel of it is still more, it's like more small company. And that may be because the intermodal account that I'm on works out of a small office off-site from the main parts of JB Hunt terminals, and there's only 30 to 40 drivers on our board at any time, and I can walk in the office at any time I'm near there and just walk in and talk, say hi or whatever. That gives it a smaller feel. And there's divisions like that all within JB Hunt. You have different dedicated groups and different intermodal groups all over the country. So I guess that makes it feel a little bit less corporate, where even though Schneider had a similar situation, it always felt a little bit corporate. It's professional, and I got along with the people, and I never really had issues there either, but there was a bigger corporate shadow over it, I felt. But here, I know it's there, but I don't feel it. I guess it doesn't intrude as an overall factor. So I know people wouldn't like the truck, the equipment situation. They wouldn't like the large company situation. If you work out of the Chicago area, maintenance can be a real difficult issue. You may get a lot of downtime if you end up getting stuck in Chicago for maintenance, for whatever reason, just because they have thousands of drivers working out of Chicago, and the shop is only so big, there's only so many people that work there. It runs 24 hours, but still, it's a lot of trucks to go through, and they've got to do it first come, first serve for the most part. So it can be pretty difficult unless you have scheduled preventative maintenance or something like that. So there's things that you can choose to not like, that you would never want to work for JB Hunt or Schneider or whatever big company, fill in the blank, because of whatever reason. But I've worked for some smaller companies, and now I've worked for two very large companies. And overall, let's see, I think I've worked for three small companies where, they were fine, but they also didn't have a lot of the benefits that the larger companies can provide. And I'm not just talking about monetary and insurance and stuff like that. I'm talking about, like, for instance, with JB Hunt, if I break down on the interstate out here, they're not going to bring out their rickety 1-ton truck and try to fix me on the side of the road. JB Hunt's going to send a guy out that's contracted. It's their job. They're going to send him out as quickly as they possibly can. I mean, if the tow trucks are busy, they're busy. But if it's not something simple they can fix right there and then, they're going to tow you out of there and get you fixed and put you in another tractor. A lot of these small companies don't have another tractor to put you in. If they do, it's a rickety piece of crap. If JB Hunt puts me in another tractor, it's only going to be maybe 3 years old at the oldest, because after that they're gone. It's going to be a decent piece of equipment. So there's a lot of benefits to working for a big company, and that's just one example. So I mean, I don't care who you are. You'll like some companies better than others, and I guess I'm still just surprised that I've liked JB Hunt this much. I'm kind of going on and on about it, so I'm going to stop. But like I said, if you do those few things, you can like the video, share it, whatever, share it with Facebook even if you want to do that. And if you're thinking about joining JB Hunt, like I said, send me a message. We'll email back and forth, and I'll get your information. I'll have the recruiter give you a call. You might end up on their call list or whatever, but listen to what they say, and you can believe that it's pretty true. The only thing I'm having an issue with that my recruiter told me is that I'd get home 2 to 3 times a week, which now it's looking a lot more possible, but initially that wasn't happening. So that I was a little bit irritated about, but everything else that he said has been true. The money's been there, equipment's been good, everything's been good. So I would talk to him. I wouldn't be afraid to talk to that recruiter, and I wouldn't be afraid to fill out the app. They can do it right on the phone, almost everything that you need to do, set you up for orientation within a couple weeks. Depending on your situation, you could probably be at orientation next Monday, whenever the orientation is for your area, and get started. So I mean, they're willing to do what they need to do to get you there and get you working and making money and being happy as soon as you possibly can. So it's worth a look if you're thinking about it. Don't let the name JB Hunt deter you, because I don't even know what's all happened in the past that made people leery about JB Hunt. I mean, it was like a stigma, and I didn't even know what the stigma was, but people were like, oh, JB Hunt, blah blah, and I didn't even know what that meant, except for they must not be a good company to work for. That was in my mind from the first day I started driving. There was that stigma attached to it. But right now, in 2016, since I started driving, and in my experience, it's been great. I mean, it's still truck driving, still traffic, still stupid stuff going on. It's truck driving. You're gonna wait sometimes. You're gonna get in traffic sometimes. That's the job part of it. But the company has been everything that I could ask for, except for those couple things, and I think those things are going to happen. I just need to be patient and keep working with them, and allow them some time to work with me. So that's all I got to say. I'm happy. I may do another update at a year, but this might be the last one. I don't know that there needs to be another one unless something really drastically changes and I'm unhappy. Because at this point, I'll stay. There's no reason for me to leave. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Right now, I'm having trouble getting videos out because I've got a ton of stuff going on. I have bats in my house, and I've been trying to get that sealed up, and in the end couldn't get it done. Still have bats in the house, so I've got a guy coming to do that. I've got trees that have the emerald ash borer beetle that got to get cut down. I'm putting trim in the attic that I've been finishing, and I've got a lot of other little projects that need to happen this summer, so I may not get these videos out because my hours need to be spent doing other things. And right now, one of those things is go home and see my wife and have supper, so that's what I'm going to do. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.